Whoo, child, I don't even have time to waste. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? This episode started with Abby sitting somewhere waiting for Olivia with cups of coffee. And the only thing I could come up with when I looked at her was, ooh, she pasty. That child needs some sun. She has spent way too much time underground in the White House and still couldn't find her Olivia, but I digress. Then it moves to Melly telling Fitz that they're going to find Olivia and bring her back home to him. Lady, ain't you married to the president? Isn't that his woman that you're talking about you're going to bring back home to him? You know, this is what I'm starting to feel like I'm really in the Twilight Zone here. Then, not Huck, Cyrus comes into the office and says, I come bearing vengeance. I had to laugh. Only Cyrus could say something like that. And he's going to make Andrew have a declamation of office. In other words, he's going to quit, being vice president, and he'll go away and it all will be well. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not going to go down that easily, right? So then they've decided that they realized that Olivia was going to be on the auction, and they decided to get in from the White House end, which they did. And Huck and crew decided that they were going to get in too, but they couldn't get in. And they kept telling Huck, you have no money, you have no money, you have no money. And Huck said, I do. I have $2,400,080. And then he said he figured it was payback for his being in the hole. Talk about getting your 40 acres, your mule, and your $2 billion. Ha! We need to do it the way Huck does it. Anyway, they figured they couldn't do it, so who did they go get? Mama Pope, right? And you would think she would say, this is my daughter, and so let me see what I can do to get her out, shall we? Because she was the only known national terrorist that they knew could have access to the darknet, a part of the internet where nobody knows exists. Oy, watching this show makes me have heartburn. They say to Mama Pope, your daughter is in trouble, we need you to help us. And she says, get me out of here. And David said, hell no. And she says, well, put me in a medium security prison where I have grass and I have people to talk to and I have a television. And David was like, I don't think so, because you could break the shards of the glass and rip up people and tear their heads off with just strings. No. And so, what's that child's name? I'm looking at her face. Quinn says, well, let's just give her a television that's tied up to the wall and with a remote. Deal. Can you imagine? She was negotiating and her daughter's life was in jeopardy. So anyway, she did all of that. They got her on. She told Huck that the only way she was going to be able to get help was if he killed these 3 men, and they sent Huck in. And when Huck's crushed the earpiece, I knew it was going to be more than just a regular killing. But child, my heart was not ready to see one arm over here, a leg over here, and he was getting ready to take off people's necks, and he was covered in blood, like he was having porridge or something, and it didn't faze him. And Jake walked in and looked like he was about to lose his lunch. What a mess. Elizabeth, what's that child's name? Cyrus went to find Elizabeth and told her, I'm sorry, but you're no longer working for the vice president, and you will be my female dog for the rest of your natural born life, and this is where we're going to start. The vice president realizes that they were coming after him because Huck told him he had, not Huck, why am I keep saying Huck? Cyrus told him he had to quit, and he said, no, I'm not. I am going to let the country know that the president went to war to save his side piece. Epic one-liners. And he walks out. And so Cyrus decides that he needed to do something else. And I think the part about Andrew that got me really ticked off was when he walked to Melly, and you could tell he was desperate now. Nothing smells worse than a grown man, than desperation. I'm sorry. And he was reeking of it. He had lost my respect 500 episodes ago, but now he's dead to me. And he told Melly, if they come after me, I'm going to let them know that you were sleeping with me, etc., etc. So Melly went to Fitz and said, we can't go after him because her ultimate goal is to become president of the United States. Talk about guts. I love me some Melly, right? And so Melly said, besides which, we do better when Olivia is sleeping between us anyway. The things people do for power and fame is unbelievable. They finally get in, and just as they were getting ready to do the auction, went dead. They had already, the guy, Ian, was killed by Gus, and Gus is nuts and wanted to force Olivia to be intimate with him. And she says, please be careful because I'm in shock and anything that comes near my mouth will be bitten off. I was outdone, but so proud of her. So she was sold to Iran. They had a briefing in the White House and said to the president, you've got to neutralize Olivia by exterminating her. You have to extract her because now she's a problem. You can't rescue her. And I thought, are they talking about the dentist and taking out the teeth? This is a human being here. And the president says, no, all those soldiers died. 43 bodies are coming in. And they died because he wouldn't allow Olivia to die, and he didn't want them to die in vain, and it got all misty, and Melly was hugging soldiers' wives and fathers and mothers and all that other good stuff. And then we get to the end of it. Lord have mercy. Huck realizes that this has gone far worse than it needs to be. And he says, Olivia's going to die. They're going to start sending pieces of her body back to them little by little by little until there's no more Olivia. And the president will get it in his mind that she is dead. And Quinn went ham on him and called him crazy and beat him up. And that was how it ended. Here we go again. Olivia is now in the hands of some people for Iran. Is she ever coming back home? Where in the world is Olivia Pope? She went from the White House to Philly to Harrisburg, and now she's going to be in Iran? It's going to be a long, long, long series. Good night, love bugs.